Hi everyone, it's Wednesday the 7th of September and this week we have Dream Challenge Part 2. So this is another 6 maps which were designed by the community via a forum competition. And personally I think these ones are slightly worse than last week's, but some still quite fun ones in there. We've got Scout Carol is our star hero to help us out, and Scouts are starting charged as well. So Scout Carol gives you a better chance of having a critical hit when a attack is not a body shot. So could be quite useful for people like Huntsman Darrell and melee characters with weakening, and it should help for ranged attackers with piercing on their weapons and critical aim in their traits. The weekend event is radioactive, and we've got be more active, get more radios, so you can get down on your season missions and start grinding away from Friday to see if you can bump up your radio total. So let's get on with the maps, and the first one is Rescue Operation. It's got quite a few walkers, a couple of barrels, and 3 freemen. You can play this a couple of ways, but the way I've always played it is you shoot the barrel first, and then you go and push the dumpster to the right. You then got to bring the other 2 survivors across. This will mean the freemen will either go and attack the tank, which is up in the top left, and they should ignore you. You then run Pizza Glen over to the right hand side, getting ready to open one of the 3 containers. When you find the right one, it will spawn a walker, so always have an extra movement or some way of stunning that when you do choose the right one. And then it is a case of getting back to where you started. Hopefully the freemen are all stunned or dead, preferably, obviously. It's not too bad. There is a knack to it, and it does end up being quite easy. I'll do a video showing what I mean as early as I can. And the next map is The Future. This is based on one of the episodes of Walking Dead, where they're building a bridge. And what you need to do is get one of the 2 survivors on the right hand side to interact with the wood to the left, and that will build a bridge in 2 turns. And you got to do that to both piles, and then get the bag, which is at the top right of the map. When you do get the bag, armoured walkers will spawn in that red X, and then you'll need to get to the line. Whilst you're doing that on this side, on the left hand side, you've got your sole survivor, which is in the first position, and he has to just fend off. Starts with 2 walkers, and then 2 walkers spawn every turn. If you can keep them stunned, brilliant. So a herding right shield's going to be really helpful. If not, you might want to put Beta over there, then he can herd them around. Walker Mike will help for 1 turn, and Gore will see you safely home most times. So it's a good place to use all that excess Gore up. Once bridges are built and you got the bag, get to the exit on the right hand side. The next map is Gates of Hell. This is probably my least favourite map. It's close between this and Secure the Lodge coming up in a minute. It's a tricky map. You've got to interact with the box on the top wall first off. There is a trick to this straight away, is don't move the person who is in front of the door, because as soon as you move them, a walker will spawn. So you can actually start on that box, which will shut that door, and not have anything spawn up there. At earlier levels, you can let it spawn to try and get yourself charged up. Then you've got to move down to the bottom middle box next to the gate. One way of doing this is to use threat reduction, keep the threat down. If you aren't using threat reduction and you're getting an incoming, then the incoming will always come on these red X's. So if you can keep those red X's full of stunned walkers, then you won't get any other incoming in that area. Once you've opened the gate, you'll move into the right hand side where you'll have a tank and some more walkers. If you are taking range and have someone with fire, try and get that tank on fire early on whilst you're working on the gate and keeping those red X's on the left hand side spawn locked. And when you open it, you won't have to deal with them. You do get an incoming on this side, and I've marked again where they are with red X's. And I'm not sure if there's one to the left and one to the right of where those X's are. I couldn't quite remember. So, but it's definitely those four. And in that room, on the right-hand wall, there is another box to work for 2 turns, which lights up the exit and opens the gate to get out. And there is also incoming, which comes in on the line, so that gets a little bit full as well if you're taking a range. So have something to be able to clear that if you can. All in all, it's quite a tricky one. I liked using melee quite a long time for it, mainly because I hate dealing with large incomings. And with scouts and Huntsman Darrell, threat reduction, it might not be too bad. You might need a warrior in there to deal with the tank and keep the tank away. The next map is Heard It Through the Grapevine. Probably my favourite map on the set. You start on the left, there's one walker here, there's normally a walker at the top, and you can go and stun it with a warrior. There's also 5 bushes to pick the grapes from, and they are here. I did hide one underneath the walker's turn button, but I'm pointing to where it is. You'll notice the one on the right hand side is a flashing red one. As soon as you hit that, a tank will spawn in the bottom right, but it will also deactivate the walker pit in the middle. So it can keep the amount of zombies on the map to quite a minimum, especially if you can keep the incoming down as well. So it's always a good idea to try and get that as quickly as possible. And Pizza Glen is a great person to use because you can hit it and then move out the way of the tank that spawns at the bottom right. Another good reason to have Pizza Glen is because if you can end up with this bush at the top being the last one to unlock, then it lights up the green line and Pizza Glen can then get to the line that turn. Reason that's useful is you'll notice that it also spawns 2 tanks. So it's one of the few maps where you want to start on the right hand side and you actually want it to be the last one you look in. Normally you're wanting it to be the first 3, but in this one not so much. Another thing to notice is you can actually go around the top of the bushes. So if you are on the right hand side, you can then go back around the top. You don't have to come back down around the bottom, and that can be useful in certain situations. As I say, I think it's a really fun map, quite tactical, a bit difficult if you do open the correct 3 bushes before you're ready and get 2 tanks spawn, but even then, particularly with Zeke, it is possible to finish. And the next map is Cable Ties, which is based again on a episode of The Walking Dead where Rick and Michonne tie a cable between 2 cars and drive through a massive horde of walkers. A similar situation here. You need to open the boot of both the cars and then attach a cable towards the front of the car on both sides. The boots take 1 turn to open and the cables take 2 or 3 turns to attach. Always starts with 5 walkers. They're not always visible. In this one you can see 4, so you know there's one more hiding somewhere else. And to try and find them, you can try and run around the side of the cars, and that can sometimes give you an idea of where they are. It's tricky because quite often you'll be 1 person down or 2 people down, and speed is of the essence on this one, because coming towards you is a horde, which includes a lot of metalheads, as you can see here. So more often than not, you are going to want to have 2 people working on those cable ties if you can. If you are creating threat, then the incoming comes from behind you, or more accurately, it comes from the free spaces you start on. So if you are taking range and trying to create a stun wall, make sure you get back into those free positions when the incoming timer comes down. Shouldn't be too bad if you're using Sasha Princess Yumiko. It should be quite easy. If you're trying to use Carol on it, it's going to be quite a tricky map to pull off. Gonna have to play around with it myself to see what's going to work, but probably Star Hero Princess Yumiko is going to get most people through it. The next map is Secure the Lodge. This is the one that most people are going to have most difficulties with. Starts off simple enough, group of walkers, which 9 times out of 10 you can go and stun or get charged up on. The trouble comes after the 3rd turn. You'll get Freeman spawn from the lodge at the top, and they will spawn on the X's. And then the turn after, a further hunter will spawn on the red exclamation mark. The good news is they can be spawn blocked, so if you have people stood on the red X's, then you'll either get no Freeman or a Freeman come in on the red exclamation mark on the 3rd turn. And then what you need to do is make sure that there is at least 1 person on that red exclamation mark for the start of the 4th turn to block any other Freeman. You can charge it and try and get to the right hand side, which is what this looks like. But if you've not spawn blocked or dealt with a Freeman, then chances are that the hunter is going to come and hit you, and be on the lookout for a lot of complaints about that. Once you've got the gate open though, which takes 2 turns, I believe, it is a get to exit, so you've just got to get through whatever's on the right hand side. There is an incoming, and the incoming only comes in on the right hand side. So if you do take too long whilst dealing with Freeman, this side gets pretty full of walkers. And at higher level, Nightmare, for instance, you'll have some nice tanks and other lovely walkers to contend with when you get through the gates. So it does change slightly at that point. A horrible map. I'm not looking forward to that one much at all with Scout Carol in lead. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Any questions, or as always, leave them in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.